Hello everyone. So this is today's class and we're starting with this photo here. And I think we decided that this was a Roman emperor. Someone thought it was Julius Caesar. It seems quite likely. I think Julius Caesar looked quite old and he probably doesn't look like a young man, but I don't know really. It'd be interesting to find out. We'll read the article that's associated with this and hopefully it'll explain a little bit. Okay, let's go over then. There we go. So it's on Literary Hub, our article today. Sometimes it's just shortened down to Lit Hub, Lit Hub. And if we scroll down, we'll see. So it's titled Portraits of Power Inside the Legacy Left by Ancient Rome's Most Famous Emperors. Then it says Tom Holland on the lasting influence of the lives of the Caesars. And the lives of the Caesars is in quotes. So that little bit in quotes, why, guys, do you think that's in quotes? Why is that in quotes, do you think? Any ideas? Anyone?
Maybe the name of a movie or something.
Yes, I think you're right there. And also, it starts with a capital. It's all capitals pretty much anyway, isn't it? So, yeah, I think it's the name of something. And I would guess that Tom Holland has produced something and he's calling it The Lives of the Caesars. So Tom Holland, I think, is a writer, a historian. So let's get going then. So it's written just a few days ago, the 1st of May, which was 6 days ago. Okay, whoops, try to get to the top. So Ozan, it's your go. Do you fancy reading as much as you want or much as you can?
All right, okay. I can read the first paragraph, I think.
Yes, yes, it starts with sometime in early ninth century.
All right,
There we
okay.
go.
Sometime in the early 9th century AD, a Frankish scholar named Einhard sat down to write a biography. His theme was a worthy one. Charlemagne, the greatest king of his age, had died in 814 after a reign of almost 50 years. During that time, he had won many wars, sponsored numerous reforms, and served as the patron of a golden age of learning. The surest measure of his achievements was that in 800, in Rome itself, he had been crowned emperor, the heir of the Caesars.
Very good. Very, very good. You seem quite confident reading that. So, was there anything where you weren't perhaps too sure of the meaning or the pronunciation? It's only a little section there, isn't it?
Mm, uh, I no, I don't have any question. If you have any feedback, of course, I'm happy to hear that. But I think all good.
Great. Okay.
It's
Um,
heir, right? The heir of the Caesars.
yes, that's it. Yes, yes, that's it. Spot on. So, air,
Heir,
air. Yeah.
heir.
So this is one of those words where the H is silent.
Yeah,
The H is silent. I think most of the time when a word starts with a letter with the letter H, we pronounce it normally in English. In English, obviously other languages are different. For instance, in French, all H's at the front are silent in French, but in English, most of the time we say it. But this is one of those words where we probably get it through the French. We sort of borrowed it in some way, and we probably keep their way of pronouncing it. So we just say air, air.
heir.
That's it. You've got it. I did notice that when you said age here, you did put a sort of you put an H sound, an aspirate sound at the front there.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
then corrected yourself. That was very good. Well done. Well done. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Um, only little thing really, I think when you said the date here, when you said, I think you said 814 was how you said it, I think.
Yes.
But but it made me think it was when the few words in front, it sounded to me like you said had died in age. I think it was like age. I thought you said age. So he died aged 14, something like that.
Hmm. Mm.
But that was just how as I heard it. So others may get yeah, we all make mistakes. But I say mistake, it's just in hearing. So if I read this, you'll probably say, "We made lots of mistakes there too." So it's not really a mistake. It's just I'm just highlighting what I'm hearing, really. That was good.
What's the best way of reading the year here? Is a 814 or is just only 814 is good?
Um, I think really 814. Most people would probably say in 814,
Yeah,
but I guess it's making it clear, saying the in at the front, really, because that makes it clear that it's a year or a date or something like that,
yeah.
a period,
All right.
time of period, just as it says in here in 800 as well.
In 800, yeah.
That's it. But this is a piece of history. We're reading about history here, so it's a little bit unusual. I mean, most of the time we don't really read about history, do we, in every day? Um, and this name here, this is a very quite an unusual name. You probably won't come across it in everyday language. No one has called this before. So, and I liked how you said it. That's very, very good. So, could you guess at that what language this might sort of come from? You might say.
Probably German.
Well
Einhard.
done. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely Einhard looks. I think probably the Americans would say Einhard. They'd make the D sound, I think, at the back there. But probably the Brits, if a British person would say it, I think it'd be Einhart. So almost like heart at the
Hart.
end, almost a T, almost. So you probably hear variations, but again, this is such an unusual name, and unless you're an historian, you probably wouldn't use this. I liked your pronunciation of this one. That was good. Do you want to just say it again for me? This name?
Uh, Actually, I looked for it before the class. So it's
Ah, that's okay.
Charlemagne.
That
Charlemagne.
that's it. That's it. Spot on. Charlemagne. That's it. Charlemagne. It's not obviously that. If you looked at it, you may, oh my goodness, it looks like Charles Magny. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something like that. But yeah. Oh, that was Yoshi wanted to come into the class. That's that noise is people entering the class. Whoops. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this or any queries, pronunciations? Anyone else at all? So just ask if you do.
Maybe I want to know the meaning of the word heir of the Caesars.
Down
Heir.
here, heir. So when somebody dies, other people inherit or get the
Mm,
possession of everything that the dead person
mhm,
owned.
mhm.
So
I
if
see.
you're the Caesar, it means you run the country, you're the leader of the country. In this case, it would have been the Roman
Okay.
Empire or Italy. That's it. So
Mm,
who then became the owners of the country or the properties that Caesar had? That's it. So
It's
the
okay.
like
heir.
heritage. Heritage.
Heritage. It relates to that, doesn't it? Heritage. Yes, that's it. Heritage. So with heritage, we pronounce the H, but when it's heir, we don't pronounce the H. It's a short little word here. That's it then. Um, the only other word noticed, Ozan, was this word here. And the TH sound. I think when you said it, it sounded more like team. Team.
His team. His team.
Um,
The
But but the British, I have had a few people say it that way, but most people in Britain would say theme,
team.
theme. So that the th makes a very particular sound. Um, it's sort of vaguely similar to the bit here in the.
The
The. So
the
if you can make the sound, do something similar here to get theme.
team. It, it's
And
like
again,
thank you.
can you try again? You're sort of almost doing it. Once again for me.
Theme.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. You've got it. That's it. That's it. That's pretty good actually. Well done. Okay. Well done. So, is it okay if we go on to Michael? So, thank you, Ozan. That was very good. Michael, if we just perhaps do a paragraph at a time this time. So, Michael, your little bit is this bit here. So, centuries might
Oh,
have, and we'll stop down by where my cursor is down here. Thank you, Michael.
okay, okay. Centuries might have passed since the centuries might have passed since the collapse of Roman rule in Western Europe, but the allure, the charisma, the prestige of the vanished empire still haunted Frankish scholars. This was why this was why when Einhard sought a model for his biography of Charlemagne, he turned not to recent source, not to the life of a saint or Christian ruler, but to an older text by far.
Yes. Really good. Very, very good. Um, Anything you want to ask about that little bit there? A good pronunciation, I thought. Anything you're not sure of the meaning or the pronunciation?
Uh, uh, was why when was
That's a little bit
when.
tricky, isn't it? Yes. Yes, that's a bit odd, isn't it? You don't often see that. So yeah, that you said it pretty well though. It is tricky. So this was why was how I would say that. I would say that as, so this was why when Einhard sought a model for his biography. So this was why when, so you sort of run those two words together, I suppose, leave a slight gap. You could say the comma is telling you to give a gap, you could say, and then carry on from there when Ironheart. Okay. So with this guy here, Charlemagne, he's quite famous in Europe, and in some ways he was like the father of, I suppose, France or the Holy Roman Empire. He was quite a very powerful king, very wise man, and he sort of expanded his sort of his sort of kingdom. But he lived around the time of almost 1,500 years ago. And so we say the name as Charlemagne. Charlemagne. Do you want to try once again, Michael? Charlemagne.
Charlemagne, Charlemagne.
So I suppose we sort of say, I know it's a C, you might think that's K or something, but we sort of, here we sort of pronounce it as an S-y sort of a sound. So Shah, we say Shah, and then we say Le Main. So Charlemagne. Do you want to give it one more go? Charlemagne.
Cha Charlemagne,
That's it.
Charlemagne.
That's pretty good. Your first one was the best one. That's it. Spot on. Very good. Um, any idea what they mean when they say Frankish? Do you any idea what that means? It's a bit tricky. It's not
It,
obvious.
it, it's maybe it's French, meaning something from
Ah,
French.
yes, that's right. So that's basically it, really. So you could say sometimes you hear about in olden times that talk about the Frankish kingdoms, and really they sort of mean what we would now think of as pretty much France. That's it. Well done, Michael. You're very good, very good. Um, what does this word mean? So this is allure, allure. Any idea?
Allure.
Tricky.
It's
Shape?
some something something attractive.
Yeah, that's it,
Something.
Michael. So it's not really shape, unless it's perhaps very shapely and very beautiful shape. So it means attractive, something like attractive, really.
But I think there is another meaning of this word. It's like um, I don't know when you riding a horse or riding on horse. It's the tempo of walking horse.
Allure.
It's
Oh,
called.
really? That's
Allure.
interesting.
I don't know, but in Ukrainian we
Ah.
use word allure. It's by
Has that
French
meaning?
word. Yes, it's meaning uh, when
It,
like how when moving.
mm.
Is there a different speed of of riding
There's
on a
trotting,
horse?
there's cantering. Yes, a canter. That's it. Well, let's have a look. I've just tapped in allure into this online dictionary, which I think is probably one of the best. Collins collins'sdictionary.com. So allure. Let's listen how they say it.
allure,
Oh, that's interesting. Allure.
allure,
Allure. So let's listen to the American way.
allure,
Allure. I'm probably somewhere between the two of these when I'm saying this. So the allure of something or someone is the pleasing or exciting quality they have. And I don't see another meaning down here. If I scroll down the British, so entice, tempt, attractiveness. Then it comes from the French and it says bait. That's interesting. So we often talk about putting a lure on the end of a fishing line, a lure, and I suppose that's obviously where we get the word for the fishing as well. There's no mention, but if we checked in the French, this is obviously the English dictionary. If I clicked on the French, it may well come up with what you're saying. I guess it would come up with what you're saying. So we don't take that meaning from the French, it seems. We just haven't borrowed that. See, a lot of English meanings and words really are borrowed from the French. Probably about 50 to 60% is borrowed from the French. Others from Latin, which is basically the Roman language, and Greek, a little bit of Viking, and other sort of, and Saxon too, Anglo-Saxon. So I think so well done, Michael, just saying that the Frankish basically is similar to the French. That's it. I can't think of anything else to say there. Any other questions from anybody? Any questions from anything? I want to ask about this a little bit here. Tell you what, I'll read this little bit through again for you guys, and if it brings up any questions to ask when I've just finished reading this little bit of blue text here. So centuries might have passed since the collapse of Roman rule in Western Europe. But the allure, the charisma, the prestige of the vanished empire still haunted Frankish scholars. Frankish, that's pronounced Frankish. That is why when Einhard sought a model for his biography of Charlemagne, he turned not to a recent source, but to the life of a saint or a Christian ruler, but to an older text by far. So, Oslan, it's your go now. Unless anyone has any questions. Are you okay reading this little bit here, Oslan? So
Hi.
you might be. That's it.
No, I'm here. The next paragraph, you mean?
Yes. Good
Okay.
luck.
Thank you. What about the name? Guys, can you spell the name firstly?
So this is someone's name. It's three bits of it. So Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus. Gaius.
Suetonius Tranquillus. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus had lived some 7 centuries previously, during the heyday of Roman power, and a single copy of his most famous work, a series of biographies of the Caesars, had been preserved in a Frankish monastery. This text, a previous survivor in the age of Charlemagne, constitute a great compendium of riches, details, many of them startlingly personal and intimate, of the first Roman emperors. Unsurprisingly, then, Einhard treasured it. He knew that fortune had preserved for him the very template of how to write about a Caesar.
Oh, yes. That's it. Good. Thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me read the whole thing through back to you, so you've got something to compare it with. Whoops. Okay. So, and the first name, it's a Latin name. We don't really use this name, of course, nowadays, and it's a full name as well. So, Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus had lived some 7 centuries previously, during the heyday of Roman power, and a single copy of his famous work, a series of biographies of the Caesars, had been preserved in a Frankish monastery. This text, a precious survivor of the age of Charlemagne, constituted a great compendium of riches, details, many of them startlingly personal and intimate, of the Roman emperors. Unsurprisingly, then, Einhard treasured it. He knew what fortune had preserved for him, the very template of how to write about a Caesar. There we go. So has that brought out any things you want to ask, or any pronunciation problems or meanings of words? Oslam? We won't go over the name because we won't really come across that. But normally most of the time he's just called Suetonius. And if you think about it, I'm actually just saying Suetonius, Sue. And that looks like Tony there, doesn't it? Tony. So Sue, Tony, and then I say us. So Suetonius. That's what I'm actually saying. Nobody really calls him Gaius or Tranquillus. It's just the middle bit he's known by, I should say.
Okay, thank you. I've listened your reading and it was great for me. I understand my mistakes.
Okay. So I think when you came here, I think I'm not sure you said precious. I can't think what you said now. It might be, I think you said previous, I think I heard, but I might be mistaken.
Actually, it is very difficult for me to read from the screen.
Is it?
Right, because because I had problem with my eyes, and white screen is very difficult for me to read. Actually, I always use a dark theme, so maybe it was difficult for me to say that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I understand. And the letters are quite small as well. They could be a bit thicker.
Can you make it bigger? But it's
actually 150 magnification. So if I made it, you get other effects when I make it even bigger. So
no, it's
let's have a go. I'll make it a little bit bigger. 170. So that's 170. I don't know how much better that is. Okay, it is bigger though, isn't it? So the other word I want to just mention was, I think this one here. Can you just say this word again for me?
rich.
Yeah, that's basically it. So yes, rich it comes from the word rich, and normally it's something to do with having lots of something. So normally it's money people think of, don't they? But it could be riches of lots of different things too. So the full word is riches. Riches, the sort of the plural. Do you want to say the full word? Riches.
Riches.
A bit louder for me.
Riches.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's it. Perfect. And I think this word down here too. So there's a couple of R's sort of almost next to each other. Could you say that word there too? It's in blue.
Emperor. Emperor. What is the right spelling? Empire. What?
It sort of relates to empire. So the empire is sort of like the land or the area that is ruled over. But this case here, it's the emperor. Emperor is the person that rules over it. So they are related.
Okay.
So this is emperor. We'll try again. Emperor.
Emperor.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll just say it once or twice more. Hold on. Let me say it a couple of times, then you can say it just the once if that's okay. So, emperor. You'll go.
Okay. Emperor.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. That's pretty much it. You might want to practice that one a little bit, perhaps after the class.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe this word down here too, just on the next line. So how'd you say that one?
He knew.
Well, I missed it. Say it again for me.
Knew. He knew.
That's it. Knew. So it's the past tense of know, isn't it? You could say.
Yeah, I know.
When you said it, it sounded like, and I might have misheard it. It sounded like no, like the current sense or the
No,
continuous sense.
I said
Yeah, but it could be the size of the text. That's okay.
uh,
But I'm just saying what I'm hearing, really. Yeah, that was a really good reading. Well done. So,
thank you.
any questions from anybody? Anyone else?
Can you say this startlingly? Can you say it again, please? Startlingly. Details many of them
Yes, I
startlingly.
struggled with that word, didn't I? I noticed that. Startlingly. So,
Startlingly.
I can't find the word now. Where is it?
Yes, you found it. Yeah.
There we go. So let's just pop it into the dictionary. So have you not come across this word before?
Yeah, I know the word startling is kind of scaring,
Yeah,
but
that's it. Yeah, startling. Yeah,
startle.
startle. So that's
Startling.
startle they've given us here, aren't they? Startle. But it's quite odd to put the startling and then
Exactly.
ly on the end. That's somewhat unusual. And so we only have startling. We don't have startlingly. That is quite odd, isn't it? So whenever you have the ly on the end of a word, it's basically the word you normally say, but with ly stuck on the end. So if you see ly on the end of the word, it always makes just the ly sound. It doesn't really vary in any way. So in this case here, just say startling and then say ly on the end. So listen how they say startling.
Startling.
Yeah, startling. There we go. So surprise, shock, alarm, frighten, etc. There we go. That's the story. Yeah, that's it. Anything else from anyone else? Okay. Are you with us, Dora? I think you dropped out for a little while, Dora. You're back in again now. Let's scroll on. So you've got a longer one, Dora, here. Are you okay reading this one here? Can you hear me, Dora? You're not actually saying anything in response at the moment.
I think she's not here.
Yeah, Dora did drop out for a little while, then came back in again. So let me just see what's going on. No, she's just gone now, isn't she? That's it. She must have dropped out a second time. There we go. So, Yoshi, I think it's your go.
Hi.
Hello, Yoshi. Hope
Hi.
you're doing well. So, bit
Okay.
of European history here.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, I'll start reading.
Okay, thank you.
12 lives in all featured in Suetonus collection. The first was that of Julius Caesar, the dictator whose name had become synonymous with imperial rule. The last that of Domitian, an emperor who had come to power 81 years after the birth of Christ. The biography most interested Einhard, however, was the second, the loudest and most detailed in Suetonius collection. Augustus, the adopted son of Julius Caesar, had been commemorated by the Romans as the first and greatest of their emperors, a ruler who had laid the vast edifice of Roman power on such solid and splendid foundations that still, long after its collapse in Western Europe, it served the Franks as the great. Can you scroll down a little bit?
There we go.
Great exemplar of an empire.
That's it. That was really good. Really good. So, yeah, that's exemplar. You don't see that
Exemplar.
word. That's it. It's exactly how you said it, really. So it's like a particular example, you might say.
Uh-huh.
Sort of like
A
example.
lot of difficult names there.
But you did really well. That's really good. So Julius Caesar's quite famous, I guess. There's so many films and stories about this guy.
Yeah,
But the other names, like this one, that one, even this guy, a
no
little bit
idea.
more, a bit harder,
No
aren't they?
idea.
So So we normally would say this one. I know it ends in hard, but we'd probably say. I think Americans would probably say Einhard. Einhard. Americans. So I'd suggest you said it that way. But Europeans or British people would probably say, would probably make that into a T sound. I think. So Einhard. Not quite so
Einhard.
strong though. Not quite so strong. But you have an American accent, so if you ever come across this name ever again in your life, which you probably won't, stick to Einhard, I would suggest.
Uh-huh.
And I'm overdoing it a little bit. So Einhard and Einhard. That's the two ways of saying it. They're almost, you can hardly tell the difference unless you're really listening for it, I guess. Okay, so Julius Caesar was great. I think that's it. So we'll quickly do the names. Again, this is a name you won't come across, but though it's a T, we pronounce it as Domitian. Strange.
Domitian.
Yeah, strange, isn't it? Domitian. And this guy here, this guy. So he was an historian. He wrote about the emperors. So we tend to say his name is Su.
Sue.
Then we say Tony. So that's Tony, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And then we say us. So Suetonius. Suetonius.
Suetonius.
That's how it's said, basically. I don't know if he mentions. Oh, I don't mention that for. So here we go. So Suetonius, Synonymous. Were there anything that you noticed that you want to go back over again?
Uh,
So that's the top. If I scroll down a little bit, get the bottom.
what does become synonymous mean?
Synonymous.
Yeah.
So you think of one thing and you immediately think of this other thing too. So fish and chips. Fish is often synonymous with chips, you might say, in that sense. Does that make sense? Synonymous. Almost the same thing. Almost the same thing.
Okay.
But not quite the same thing. So I think what they're saying is Julius Caesar is synonymous with being an imperial ruler, a dictator or something, maybe.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. And Julius Caesar is probably synonymous with a lot of other things too, but I don't know. I just don't know what they are. I noticed biography. So we tend to say it this way, biography.
Biography.
So bio sort of means life, and graphy just means to write. But you're sort of splitting it up. But when we put these two sounds together, or two sort of phonemes together, we say it as biography. Biography.
Biography.
Yeah, I don't think the Americans even say it that way. I think they tend to say biography.
Biography.
Yeah. So yeah, this just run those two bits together, and you'll be there. I think that's it.
Okay. Do I read the sentence?
Yeah, let's give that half a sentence a go, maybe down to about there,
Okay.
perhaps.
The biography that most interested Einhard, however, was the second.
Yeah, okay. So I would read that as, so the biography that most interested Einhard, however, was the second. So the second in the 12 of the biographies. So biography, we sort of rush it slightly. I think you're probably overdoing the R a little bit when you're saying it, but
Biography.
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe I think I listed this one here as 2. How would you say that one?
Commemorated.
That's it. That's spot on. That's it.
Okay.
But we speed it up slightly, so we say commemorated. It's tricky. Lots of M's. Commemorated. Your go.
Commemorated.
That's almost there, I would say. So we'll do it once more and we'll leave it, I guess. So commemorated. Yeah, you've got it. I think. Of course, the problem there
What does it
is
mean?
remembering it. Oh, yeah. So There was this name here. So I was born in this month. So and this guy gives us in Britain, or the Europe, I suppose, the name of this month of the year. So this guy was an emperor of Rome, and the name
Hmm.
is Augustus. Augustus. Did you want to just say Augustus for me?
Augustus.
Yeah, Augustus. That's it. So although it's OAU, we sort of say as if it was perhaps OR or something. We say or at the front, or. That's how that's pronounced. So the month, if you miss off the US, it's just August, August. But with the
Hmm.
US on the front, or the end, I should say, is Augustus, Augustus.
Augustus.
Yeah, that's it. Great. Anything? Any other questions? Anything else?
What does commemorated mean?
Oh, commemorated. To mark, to make a perhaps somebody died, and it was a very sad event, and you might commemorate it a year later. So
Oh.
you mark it on your calendar and you commemorate it. So today, well, this I think was victory in Europe May the 8th or May the 9th. I think it was May the 8th, wasn't it? So the Second World War ended in May, and we're commemorating it at the moment. We're commemorating the end of the Second World War even now as I'm talking.
Hmm.
So you
Okay.
might celebrate a birthday, but when people die, you don't celebrate it, but you commemorate it.
Oh, okay.
So
Like
that's the difference.
remembrance.
Yeah, remember that's it. Remembrance. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Uh, we use the word differently though, but remembrance and commemorate is just used differently. But I think commemorate is used quite a bit more than remembrance, I would say. Remembrance, remembrance. Okay, let's scroll on then. So everyone's had a read through, so let's go again. So Ozan, it's back to you if you're still with us. Okay, so it's still this subject.
Yeah.
So over to you.
Thank you. To Einhard, the comparison with Charlemagne appeared obvious. Accordingly, when he wrote his biography, the Frankish scholar modeled it on Suetonius' portrait of the first Roman emperor. Just as Charlemagne had done, Augustus had fought wars, passed laws, and presided over a golden age. Suetonius, however, had not rested content with telling the emperor's achievements. Now, having provided a summary of his life, I will go through it detail by detail, not chronologically, but ordered by theme, so that each topic can be rendered more clearly and intelligibly. He had been as good as his word. Barely an aspect of Augustus' character had been regarded by Suetonius as too trivial to merit his attention. The emperor's physical appearance,
We'll
his
leave it there. Okay. We have to
appearance.
end somewhere. Okay. Okay. So good. Well done. Well done. Very, very good. Very, very good. So this very last word you had, so we say that as appearance.
Appearance.
Yeah, that's it.
Appearance. All right.
You've got it.
Appearance.
You've got it. That's it.
All right.
That's it. And you weren't too sure on this, but you got it by the end. I think we had to you read it 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4
Yeah, it
times
will
now.
take some time to learn. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's a name you won't come across unless you want to be an historian or something. So, but it's just Suetonius anyway.
Suetonius.
That's it. It's
Thank
pretty much as it looks, really, as I've said.
Yeah, Suetonius. All right.
Um,
Shall I continue or?
well, hold on a second, otherwise I'll just forget what happened now.
Yeah.
But if we go, so that was the name Suetonius. So how would you say it here, though? How do you,
Suetonius's portrait.
that's once again.
Suetonius's.
That's it. That's it. Yes. So that little extra comma there, it sort of means or pretends or says there's another S afterwards. That's it. So you've got it. So you say Suetonius, And then you put another S on. So Suetonius's
Yeah.
portrait. That's it. That's it. But I think you missed it out when you read it out the first time. That's why I mentioned it. That's good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's good. It's if I read this out, I'm sure I would make loads of mistakes. So it's not sort of. It's just how it is. I'm just saying what I'm hearing really or seeing. Do you want to do this word up here again? This one.
Appeared.
That's it. Appeared. That's it. Appeared. And maybe that one there.
Accordingly.
Okay. So so let me just read that sentence or half a sentence to there. So accordingly, when he wrote his biography, if I read this again for you, so then it's your go. So accordingly, when he wrote his biography, so your go, that blue sentence.
Accordingly, when he wrote his biography.
Okay.
Accordingly. All right.
So when you get about here, you're sort of stopping for a half a second and then finishing the rest of the word off. So just be aware of sort of you want to run the whole word together more consistently because you're stopping about there for half a second and then finishing it off. It makes it. I can still understand what you're saying, but I'm just sort of highlighting what I'm seeing, hearing.
Can you say it again, please?
So accordingly.
Accordingly.
Yeah, you pretty much got it, I would say. But
Yeah.
you just be aware of it. Maybe it's nothing really in a sense, just a very very small thing. It's sort of detail, I guess, really. Maybe do you want to just practice or reread this sentence there, that little bit there?
Augustus had fought wars, passed laws, and presided over a golden age.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I'll read it back to you. So Augustus had fought wars, passed laws, presided over a golden age.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That was all I really noticed. Maybe this word here, actually, I think. So
Chronologically.
yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah. So chronologically. Yeah, I think you have it. That's it.
Yeah.
Any questions you had on this little bit here that you read out?
Not really.
Okay, that's good. The meanings were pretty clear. That's good. Okay. So when it says, so what does this word mean down here? I think you read this one out.
Yeah, trivial, simple.
Simple. Yes, right. Yes. Inconsequential, probably.
Inconsequential.
No little meaning. That's it. You've got it. Okay. I can't think of anything. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to ask about this little bit here we've read out? Just call out if you do have something. Okay. Otherwise, we'll go on to Michael. Back round to Michael again. Okay. So thanks very much, Azan. Very clear. And I don't think we miss this little bit here, so I'll read that bit. And Michael, if you start from Einhard. So, the emperor's physical appearance, his tastes in food, drink, his sex life, all had received scrupulous attention. So, what does scrupulous mean? Anyone want
Deliberately, very deliberately.
Yeah, I guess so.
Very,
yeah.
very in details. Very.
Yes. That's. I think it's the.
I can't find the word.
But it could be deliberately a two, I suppose.
Very good in details. Very.
It's the details. That's it. Yes, someone who is scrupulous takes great care. Details to do what is fair, honest, or morally right. Yeah, you could be scrupulously honest, you might say. So it means thorough, exact, careful about details. That's it. Careful about details.
Carefully.
That's it. You had it.
Accurate and careful in details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like meticulous?
Yes, I suppose so. With meticulous, you have the feeling of they're taking their time over it as well, and perhaps even spending too long over it. I suppose even meticulous detail. Yeah. Yes, well done. That's a very good way of thinking about it, Ozan. So, Michael, this is your little bit of a reading. So, Einhard it starts with, and
Okay.
perhaps ends where my cursor is, if you can.
Einhard studied Suetonius's methods closely, had absorbed the lesson. In his own biography, narratives of Charlemagne's conquest were combined with the most personal details. The value of Suetonius as a serviceable exemplar to Christian scholars was decisively demonstrated. His reputation as the model of how to write the biography of a great ruler was ensured. In a similar manner, the 12 Caesars whose lives constitute the theme of his collection were enshrined for medieval Europe, the very archetypes of emperors.
Really good. Very, very good. Well done. So, lots of tricky words there. So, yeah, I think you had this right. Archetypes, exactly right. I think is how you said it. Archetypes, spot on. So, medieval.
Medieval.
That's it. What does medieval mean, by the way? What does it mean?
It's a period of time.
That's it.
In Europe. It's
yeah. So about 1,500 years ago or something like that.
14th centuries.
Yeah, that's it. Sort of scholars vary about when they say it stopped and started, but it's sometime a long time ago. It's a period of time, exactly as you said. That's it. Spot on. And maybe that word is, I think you're very good on that word. You weren't too sure, but by the end you had it. Well done. So you would have practiced it once again, though. That's the tricky bit.
Enshrined.
The first time you had it, You've not quite. So you did have it.
Yeah.
So enshrined. Enshrined. That's it. Spot on. You really have got that. Well done. Very good. So, any idea what it means, though? Enshrined.
No.
So a shrine is something like a temple, a special place, and you might put valuable things in a temple. Might you like an idol or a god or something might go in a shrine in a temple, and if you enshrine it there, you might think, oh, it's nice and safe there. So that's kind of the idea. Something is safe there. It's locked in there. It's its place. The place for that thing is in the temple. That kind of an idea. So let me just pop this into the dictionary and get their meaning and pronunciation. Let's listen. We'll double check. So if something has, here we go. So if something such as an idea or a right is enshrined in something, such as a constitution or law, it is protected by it. So it's a slightly different meaning it's coming out here, isn't it? So the essentials of the deal will be enshrined in a document, sort of kept safe in a document, you might say. My way of thinking about it, anyway. So the apartheid system, which enshrined racism in law, still existed. Okay. There we go. So, were there any words there you want to go back over again, Michael? In your little bit you read out there? Any words that you particularly noticed?
Serviceable. Serviceable. It's
That's
two word. It's serviceable.
Yeah, you're pretty much there. That's pretty good. I can definitely understand what you're saying, and it does come from service. We normally say serviceable, serviceable.
Serviceable.
That's it.
Serviceable.
That's it. We sort of so if my washing machine is half broken down, so I can almost sort of say my washing machine is not serviceable. It doesn't do the job it's meant to. My washing machine is not serviceable. So it doesn't mean it needs a service as such. So with a car, you might
Yeah.
say my car needs a service. It doesn't mean
Mm.
that sort of thing, really, normally, anyway, not in this sense, anyway. Um, this name tricked you, I think, because there's an S on the end. It tricked you. So, but again, you won't come across this name very
Charlemagne's.
often. Yeah, that's it. So Charlemagne's.
Charlemagne's.
That's it. That's it. You've got it. You've got it. Well
Mm.
done. Very good. It was very good
Uh,
reading. Very little for me to say. Yeah. Anything else?
how spelling word exemplar? Exemplar. Serviceable.
When you read it out, that was exactly it. When you read it out, but it's more exemplar. Exemplar, I should say. Not, the R is a bit dead, I would say. So exemplar. Exemplar.
Exemplar.
That's it. Exemplar. Some people pronounce the R a little bit more than others. So exemplar. Exemplar. I noticed this word here. So do you try that one again? That one there, maybe?
Method.
Oh, that's spot on. That's it. That's it. Just when you read it out, it was just ever so slightly different, I think. And I think it was that word too. Do you fancy just rereading that half a sentence to there, maybe? A little bit there again.
Uh, in his own biography, narratives of Charlemagne's conquests.
It's perfect. I can't change. I can't fault you there at all, really. So, in his own biography, narratives of Charlemagne's conquests. It was mainly that word there. I think when you first read it out, you weren't quite. It wasn't quite there, but you were almost there. So that's it. You've got it now, though. So narratives, narratives. How would you explain that word as to its meaning, sort of thing? What does it mean?
And narrative, it's like direct speech, direct.
Kind of, yeah. That's it. Yes. So. So it's a bit slightly different. So it's sort of like a storyline, you might say. So the narrator, so that's a different word. Narrator. That's the person who reads out a story, you
Yeah,
might
yeah,
say, and the narrative, you could say, is the story. And this is
yeah.
plural.
Narrative sentences. There are narrative sentences.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I think the meaning's slightly different there, but that's good. That's good. And there was, I think maybe just reread that little bit there. Could you just reread that little bit there, maybe?
In a similar manner, the 12 Caesars whose lives constituted the theme.
Yeah.
The theme.
Yeah, that's good. Theme. Theme. Yeah, you're pretty much there, I would say. That's very good. So maybe this word. So I think let's copy this word and put it into the dictionary. So similar. I would say similar. How would they say it? Similar. Let's listen.
Similar.
So similar. So there's sort of there. The R is a bit sort of not really there, I would say. So to my mind, similar. Do you want to try it again? Let's listen to her for a second.
Similar.
So similar. Do you want to say it again, Michael?
Similar.
That's it. That's it. That's spot on. You can't improve on that, really. That's it, really. So that's that word there. So it is tempting to say similar, but we don't really say it that way. Although I have heard some people say something similar, but not really. And maybe this word here, how would you say that word?
Leaves.
So there's two ways of saying that word. Do you know what the both? I'm sure you're probably doing both of them. So what are the two ways of saying it? There's
Sorry.
two. So there's two ways of saying that word, and it's really about how the I is pronounced. So, and both get used. So tricky.
Live.
That's it. That's it. You've said it. You've said it. So
Lives.
there's lives and lives. Lives and lives. That's two ways. And you only work out which way to say it from the context of the sentence. And I think you mixed the two up when you said it. The second time anyway. So this is about the name of a book, or it's about talking about their lives. So it's not lives. We know that they lived, but it's about their lives. So the 12 Caesars' lives. And I think you said the 12 Caesars lives. I think you said, I think.
Yeah. Life.
Lives and
Life
lives.
is plural. Lives. Yes. It's
Yeah, I
in
knew you'd
context.
get it. I knew you'd get it.
Yeah.
So any questions? Get any other questions, Michael? Or from anybody else on this little bit here?
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so we'll scroll on. So it's gone 7 o'clock in London, so we've had just almost an hour of reading. So, okay, we'll carry on. Everyone else will get another. Everyone will have 2 reads, hopefully, and then we'll call it a day, I guess. Or we can talk about it a little bit. So, okay, who's next then? I think it must be Oslam. Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly. So, you'll go. If you're still with us, Oslam, we can't hear you. So, are you muted?
Yes, it says, I am sorry if I say some words wrong.
That's okay. I say them wrong. I say them wrong all the time. You'll go.
And so they remain to this day. That Rome tends to live more vividly in people's imaginings than other ancient empires, also an inordinate amount of spontaneous. Spontaneous? Is it like that? You know?
Just carry on. That's okay. Carry on.
Okay. Pharaohs and shows may have presided over civilizations quite as brilliant and influential, but no one ever wrote about them as Suetonius wrote about the Caesars. His subjects seem familiar to us, as do few other rulers from antiquity. They wrestle with funding shortfalls, foreign policy crises, and sex scandals. Were shown their tastes, their foibles, their eccentricities. We see them eat, drink, marry, divorce, get angry, make jokes, take exercise, urinate, listen to people break wine, wind, tie up their scandals. The chilly marble of their portrait bust is transfigured into flesh and blood.
Hold on. That's great. You got to the end of the page now. That's very good. Very good. Okay, so anything you want to ask about there? The little bit that you read out? Or any questions, pronunciation, meanings? Anything? Anything?
Does it mean foiblers? Foibles.
Oh, I missed half of your sentence then. I only got the end of it. So what was...
We are shown their tastes, their foibles, their
Oh, yes.
eccentricities.
So let me read that a little bit. That's... Yeah, okay. So we are shown their tastes, their foibles, their eccentricities. So I was going to mention this actually, yeah. So foibles, their eccentricities. So foibles, eccentricities, very similar, really, I would say, very similar in their meanings, these two words. Let's tap in foibles. So peculiarities, you could say, as a simple explanation. for both of those words, really. So a foible is a habit or characteristic that someone has which is considered rather strange, foolish, or bad, but which is also considered unimportant. Yes, unimportant, I would say, a foible. And eccentricities. So
Almost the same meaning, right? Foibles and
I would have said so. In a way, he's sort of repeating the same thing, but he's emphasizing it by repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
So, see eccentricity. So this is obviously the plural. So two ways of behaving that people think are strange, or habits or opinions that are different from those of most people. Yeah, pretty much the same, but slightly different. Okay. So anything else you want to mention or ask about there, Oslam?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay. So let me think. So I think there was something at the very beginning, wasn't there? So let me just reread this sentence here, that very first one. And I think you stopped and you got to that name, didn't you? So that Rome tends to live more so that Rome tends to live more vividly in people's imaginations than other ancient empires owes an inordinate amount to Suetonius. So the guy who wrote about it, he's put this in people's imaginations. So could you just reread that little bit there, that very small bit again? That Rome. Is that okay?
Me, you are asking?
Yes, yes.
Okay. That Rome tends to live more vividly in people's imaginings than other ancient empires owes an inordinate amount to Suetonius.
Yes. I think I read that wrong, didn't I, that word there? So this word here is ancient. Can you just say it again? Ancient.
Ancient.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it just yeah, it's you want to practice on a little bit more, I think maybe. Perhaps after the class. I think maybe this word here, so owes, owes.
Or owes.
Yeah, owes. That's it. So if I might owe money to somebody and I have to pay them back some money. That's it.
I know the word, but maybe
Okay.
pronunciation.
Yeah, but might be others who are listening who don't know the word. So if it's slightly unusual, I might sort of mention the meaning.
Okay.
And I think maybe this one here. So how would you pronounce that one again?
Inordinate.
That's it. Inordinate. Inordinate.
Inordinate. Okay.
Yeah,
Inordinate.
it's more. There's a little bit of variation sometimes, but that's okay.
Okay. Inordinate.
That's it. That's great. And maybe these two titles here. Can you see those two titles?
Pharaohs and Shahs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So pharaohs, pharaohs, and shahs. That's it. That's it. Shahs.
Yeah.
I think some of the detail in the pronunciation you drop a little bit at the end sometimes. So I know the H you could say is silent, but it's really the OH together make this O sound. So pharaohs and shahs. So you sort of you sort of go you're losing it a little bit at the end. Maybe it's my hearing too, I guess. But I think I noticed the same thing here at the end of this word. When you're saying this word, I think you rushed onto the word Rome very quickly, and I would like to have heard the whole of that word. I kind of guessed what you said because it's kind of obvious in a sense, but you sort of missed out the end of it a little bit, only slightly. And in a sense, it doesn't really matter, but just I'm aware of it, I guess. Anything else you want to mention or ask about? I think it was good reading, to be honest.
Okay, thank you for your attention and your feedback.
Okay. I think when you said this word here, I can't remember how you said it now, but I think with the TH sound, I think you turned it into a D sound. So I think it was something like udders. Udders.
Others.
Yeah, that's slightly better. Yes, no, it should really be others. Others, if you can say the th. That's it. So when British people are rushing, they might change that th to a d or even a v sound or whatever. And often you do find the th can be a bit tricky for a lot of people, and they sort of change it to make it slightly easier to say. But but that's ideally it's a th sort of a sound, isn't it? And maybe that word too. I think it was that word or a similar word. Could you say that one again for me?
I'm not sure about
Oh,
this
okay.
pronunciation of the antiquity, something like
Oh,
that.
that's pretty close actually. So we start with the an, and then that's it, antiquity. That's it, antiquity.
Antiquity. Okay, thank you so much.
Antiquity. That's it. So it's very tempting to think, oh, it's anti something, but no, no, it's tricky, isn't it? So it's just an, and then antiquity, antiquity, antiquity. I think you've got that. And I think we looked at eccentricity, but I don't think you said it out loud. So can you just say these two words again for me? These two words, or three words actually.
Of course. Foibles, their eccentricities. Eccentricities.
That is the tricky one, isn't it? So foibles is a bit easier. So eccentricities, eccentricities.
Eccentricities.
That's it.
It's very
So,
interesting word, actually.
and what does it mean, this word again? Just remind us all.
Yeah, I can understand.
But what does it mean? That's a question. Can you answer it?
What was the question?
So, if you remember, we said that foibles and eccentricities had a similar meaning. But what do they mean? What do they mean? Can you tell us?
Are you asking, they have similar meanings or not? Or their meanings? Are you asking their meanings?
It's a question to you. Do you know the meanings of these words? Do you know the meanings of these words? That's a yes or a no. And then I'm going to say, what do they mean?
I know. And in Turkish, we also use
Ah,
sometimes say eccentric from eccentricities. It's very eccentric. In Turkish, we say that.
eccentric.
Come
Yes,
from eccentric, something like that.
that's
I know
right.
foible is a kind of weakness, something like that.
Yes, so you could think that as a weakness, a foible. That's true.
Yeah. And
That's it. That's it.
Uh-huh.
So in a way, this is just a kind of an excuse for me to hear you say the word repeatedly. There's also a way for you to practice a little bit of English too, of course. But okay. So eccentricities. I think that's it, really. That's it. That's good. Well done. Very good. Okay, so it's back to Yoshi again, I think, isn't it? If that's okay. So we missed this a little bit here, I guess. So let me read that a little bit there. So the chili marble of their portrait busts is transfigured into flesh and blood. So Yoshi's over to you again. So your one starts, yet just as they.
Okay. Yet just as they can seem something familiar, political figures we might almost imagine being deserted on social media. So at the same time, is it a potential part of their fascination that, like long extinct apex predators, the Caesars portrayed in Suetonius' great collection of biographies are alien, terrifying, strange. Even Augustus, the emperor who served Einhard as a model for his portrayal of Charlemagne, is described during his rise to power as committing acts of chilling cruelty, googling out the eyes of the suspected spy with his thumbs, butchering 300 human victims in sacrifice. The portrait of the imperial court that we gain from Suetonius' collection of biographies is one repeatedly blotted by perversities and crimes.
Yes, really good. Very, very good reading. Well done. So, yeah, so perversities.
Perversities.
So if someone's a pervert, they mean they do sort of things that other people don't do and other people find disgusting, perhaps. So perversities. Okay. Uh, it's shocking. So it says 300 human sacrifices. That's incredible.
Mm.
Tricky, to say the least. So I think you said this is Googling. I love that. That was brilliant. But how do you say it? What's the real way?
I don't know.
Goo.
Googling or Googling?
You're not too far away. It's actually gouging. Gouging.
Gouging. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That is really shocking. So if you, I won't go into details actually. So gouging. That's gouging.
Gouging.
And this word next to it too. So this is obviously it comes from the word cruel. So clearly he was a cruel man, killing 300 people as human sacrifices. So cruel, so
Mm-hmm.
sort of nasty,
Cruel.
violent, you might say. So with the ty on the end of it, and obviously ty is a quite fairly common ending, isn't it? So that's cruelty, cruelty.
Cruelty.
You're virtue there, so you're 80% there. So cruelty, cruelty.
Cruelty.
Okay, you're stuck at that level, I think. So probably was a bit more practice.
Cruelty.
That's a lot better, I think. Bit more
Okay.
fluid, that one. That's it. You get to get. Okay, so we've done gouging, cruelty, and there was something else.
Google out.
Oh yeah, gouging.
Gouging.
So that's Augustus again. Augustus. Perversities. What else was there? Something else. So anything you see, just say out loud, won't you? Just ask. So yeah, I think you had this right. So extinct. I think you had that. But I think so. These two words often go together. Could you say those two again? Maybe just practice them again.
Apex predators.
That's it. Yes, apex predators. Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Apex predators. Predators. And do you know what they are? What are apex predators? Apex predators.
No.
So if you went to Africa, you might say, I think this might be true, that the lion is the apex predator. So there's no animal that the lion is sort of frightened of. So let's say the monkeys are frightened of the lions, and I don't know, and there's other creatures that are frightened of the monkeys. So you could say that the lion is at the top or the apex of a let's say a triangle of of animals that eat each other. So nothing really eats the lion, so they're the apex at the very top. So the top of a triangle is also the apex. Top of a triangle is an apex. That's what that comes from. And just above it, thinking about it, so there was this one here. So I think you said this is a very similar word. So say that word again, maybe. It's in blue.
Potent.
Yeah, potent. That's it, potent.
Potent.
Yeah. I think you said potential. I think you said when you read it out. So it's very easy to, because it's the first word of the line. What people tend to do, they read a line, and they then very quickly with their eye rush down to here, and then quickly say the first word that they think of. And so it's very easy to get the very first word wrong, or perhaps even the second word in this case, because their eyes just very quickly rush to that line sort of thing, or the first word in the line. So just above it again, this word here, and that one there maybe.
I think I pronounced deserted or something. Dissected.
That's it. That's it. I think we say dissect. Do we say dissect? I think we say dissected normally.
Dissect. Okay. I don't remember.
I think the Americans might say it slightly differently, but you've got it pretty much. Yeah, that's it, dissected. So if you've ever done biology at school to quite a high level, perhaps A level in the UK, you might get a small creature where you dissect it. So you have a knife, you cut it
Mm-hmm.
open, and you look inside the creature. That's dissecting, and decision, or something like that. Dissected. Okay. Anything you've noticed there, or any other words or meanings?
Mm, yeah, a lot of difficult names, and it's a little bit tricky because it's all about history stuff.
Unusual words and names. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. I thought it was good reading, to be honest. Very good reading.
What does go no googling gauging out?
Uh,
Yeah,
so if there was an E on the end of that there, that'd be gouge. Gouge.
gouging
Gouge.
out.
That's it. Gouging. That's it. Gouging. So if you have a piece of wood and you're trying to shape it, you might use a tool called a gouge. There is a tool called a gouge. It's a metal tool, and you sort of make holes with it in the wood, maybe a gouge.
Mm-hmm.
So gouging means putting something into a hole and forcing it out. That's kind of what it means, you might say, to gouge. In this case, it's gouging someone's eyes out, which is obviously very, very nasty.
Oh,
But nor often it's just the pain of having someone press on your eyes and not necessarily forcing them out, but maybe he did literally take them out.
oh my.
So that is really cruel, really nasty,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
nasty.
yeah.
Okay. I can't think of anything else. I think maybe the word. I think the Americans and the Brits say alien slightly differently, and I can't really remember how the Americans say it. So alien. So
Alien.
yeah. I think the N was a bit quiet when you were saying it. I think that's what it was. So I think we say alien. Alien.
Alien.
Well, let's pop it into here then, into the dictionary. I have to spell it out. So A-L-I. Have I spelled it correctly? I think I have. Alien abduction comes up. I haven't been abducted yet by aliens. So let's listen to what they say. So I think this is the British way they're going to give us here.
alien,
Alien. That's their way. Let's listen to is it an American difference? I don't know. Alienage, whatever that is. I've never heard that one before. I can't find the American way. Oh, it looks no, it is slightly different actually. But not, there's no sort of little microphone button to pump there, so we can't hear how they say it. Let's go to the top again. No. So let's listen to this chap, if it works.
Alien.
That was
Alien.
it is slightly different, but it's so subtle I wouldn't make any point of it really. Okay, that was very helpful. Anything else? I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I think I just have to note down all the names.
I suppose really the most common ones are so Caesar's as there, and Augustus, and maybe Charlemagne.
Charlemagne.
Einhard is very unusual. You won't come across this name unless you are an historian, I should say. Maybe in Suetonius, he wrote he wrote some histories. So unless you're really into history, perhaps don't go into it really. So Suetonius, that's that guy there. It's an interesting story though, but So I think so I think perhaps we'll end the class bit here, but I think I'm right in saying that Einhard, he married the daughter of Charlemagne. But what he did was, Einhard, he ran off with Charlemagne's daughter and married her. He ran off with her. And I don't really know what happened to Einhard. I think he might have, I don't know, I think he might have become the leader after Charlemagne, but I really don't know. It's possible. Does
Mm.
anyone know anything about this guy? I think one of you said that you checked out some of these details. So does anyone know any history at all? So Einhard is almost unheard of, I would say, really. So no one's really heard of Einhard. At least in Britain. On Europe, he may well be a bit more better known, I guess. So so this is the name of. So originally it was the family name. It is a family name. So there was Julius Caesar, and I think I'm right in saying Caesar. And so Caesar then sort of became the name for the leader. So if you wanted to become the leader, you became the Caesar, you might say. But really, originally, it was a family name. And of course, it still is, I guess.
Mm.
So that's the origin of that. And so there's also the word, let's try and, does anyone know how to say this word here on the screen? This word up here? Anyone know how to say it?
Tsar, I don't know.
Oh,
Tsar.
that's pretty much it. You've pretty much got it. So there's another spelling. It's spelled two ways, strangely, and it's spelled. Oops, did I spell it correctly? Oh, I have actually. Yes, that's the other way of spelling it. They're both pronounced basically the same, and it's Czar. It's Czar, Czar.
Tsar.
And so, and this really nowadays we use this. We might say we need a Czar of litter. We need a Czar litter. And so it's really someone who is trying to sort the litter problem out. In Europe, sometimes people leave litter around, little bits of waste paper on the floor. And so we need someone who can be in charge of the litter and make sure it gets picked up by somebody. We might call them the Czar. Czar. And of course, this word, Czar, surprise, surprise, comes from Caesar. Caesar.
Mm.
And the German word, what's the German word? Who knows the German version of Caesar? Who knows the German version of Caesar? Can I spell it correctly? Oh, I think I have actually, amazingly. So this is the German version of Caesar, and it's Kaiser. So the famous Kaiser in Germany, it was Kaiser Wilhelm II, I think. And so, of course, once again, as I just said, Kaiser comes from Caesar. So it's amazing when you think about it, how many words originate from other words, but they're spelled completely differently. I used to work with somebody called Kaiser. That was his name. He called himself Kaiser. Strange. So is anyone interested in history? So I think we'll probably end with a little bit of conversation now, and rather than keep reading. Does
I
anybody?
am, but it's I know a little bit about, my country's
Of
history,
course, yes.
but for European histories, I very have superficial one.
Yeah, and I'm probably more superficial about Japanese history, I think, than you are, I guess, than you are for Europe. Um,
Yeah,
does
it's
anyone
interesting.
else?
I
Yeah.
I don't know that all the name of king, Tsar, Kaiser.
Mm,
It's origin from Caesar.
yes. Yeah.
Yes, and now yeah, I don't know it. Interesting.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, where words come from. Yeah, where words come from. Does anybody know who this person over here is, where my cursor is? This is a fairly famous writer. Does anyone know what country?
Mark Twain.
Yes, well done. That's it. Mark Twain. Yes, it is a famous sort of look he had about him, this sort of big bushy moustache.
But
That's it.
Mark Twain, it's his pseudonym,
S-
pseudonym,
Pseudonym. That's it. Pseudonym.
pseudonym.
So when you're a
Uh,
writer, you don't really write with your given name. It's a little bit like you have a different name on the internet. I have several different email addresses, and each of them is like a different name. It's based on me. It is me basically. So yeah, so Mark Twain, the writer's name is pseudonym. So let's tap in Mark Twain. So what was his real name? Anybody know what his real name was? That's how you spell Mark Twain. Let's see what it comes up with. So this is the same sort of photo. It didn't really change his hairstyle. So Mark Twain, oh, here we go. So Samuel Langhorne, actually, Clemens. Samuel Clemens was his name. Known by the pen name, they're saying pen name here, but it's the same meaning as pseudonym, you might say. Mark Twain. So I think he's famous for writing Huckleberry Finn. Oh,
Tom Sawyer.
yeah, Tom Sawyer. Yeah, so The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. That's it. Yes, very famous writer. And I think he was a bit sort of grouchy.
And he's also famous with his famous statement, famous
Ah,
phrases.
yes. Do you know any of them?
Um, in English, no. In my native language, yes.
Ah, well, this is a test for you then. They're tricky. So if you want to, well, you can think about it for a moment, and I'll just search quotes. So think about it. Put it in English if you can. So kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. That's interesting. So what is kindness, I suppose? Okay, so 10, life is quite small. Hope you can see this. So 10 life-changing Mark Twain quotes. So never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Very good. So keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. That's true. Life is short. I think a lot of people have said that, haven't they? Life is short. The two most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Oh, that's interesting. The day you find out why you were born. Like, basically, is what you said there. That's interesting. I've not heard that one before. It's very good. Does anyone else have any interesting quotes from anybody?
Uh, my favorite, but I don't know how it
Mhm.
in English.
Had to translate it.
Any
Yeah.
maybe any mention in the press, even the most negative, except for an obituary, is advertising.
I think the English version is something like all press is good press or something like that, or all
It's quoted by Mark Twain also.
It's a Mark Twain. I didn't realize that actually. So maybe it's
Maybe something. Yes,
never
the same meaning, but
quotes about press. Is it press? Let's say press. Or the news. Let's say the news. So is he famous for saying about his death? Yeah, there was a famous quote where he said about his death, wasn't it really? So about the news. Not this. If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. Oh, that's brilliant. You can say that about the internet today, really, can't you? I think.
Yeah.
If you don't read. That's fantastic. What a clever man. Then Mark Twain says, never put off till tomorrow what may be done day after tomorrow just as well. Okay. Classic. A book which people praise and don't read. True. I know a lot of books I can praise, but I've not read. But didn't Mark Twain, didn't he read, I might be wrong, didn't he read about his death in the newspaper? He read about his own death in the newspaper saying he'd died, but he obviously hadn't. What did Mark Twain say before he died? Not that one, is it? Maybe it was somebody else then. He said something like, the news of my death has been much exaggerated. I think he said something like that. So you can't really exaggerate your death, can you? You're either dead or you're not dead. You can't exaggerate it. And I think that's very funny how he said that. But the news of my death has been much exaggerated. I think he said something like that. Can anybody correct me? Was I wrong in saying that? Well, am I wrong, I should say. Okay, so I think I'm just talking to myself here. So it's okay to interrupt me. So some very funny things, it seems. Okay, so I think we'll call this a day there. So thanks everybody for coming. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully you've learned
Yeah.
something. So
Thank
we
you.
started to look at this little bust. We think it's Julius Caesar. So thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks everybody. See you next time if you can make it. There's a free class next Wednesday. There's a paid for class tomorrow. And a walk on Sunday if you're in London. See you soon.
All
Bye
right.
bye
Thank
everyone.
you.
So,
Bye
Take care.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Cheers.